Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Beyond Ideas podcast. My name is Jorge Suria, and today we are gonna talk about how to do the hard thing because there are hard things in life and it's good to do them, I guess. Yeah, this episode, or at least the intention of this episode, when I was writing a little bit of what I wanted to talk about, I think that I will tell you what I believe are some things that may be happening inside of you if you struggle to do the hard thing, what's the hard thing, and that kind of thing. And then towards the end of the episode, I would say I give you the red pill or the blue pill, whatever. That's easy solution if you're looking for easy solution. But I invite you to also have a look at, you do whatever you want. But I think it's nice to also have some understanding before taking action. And I'm hoping that this inspires you somehow, somewhat. If it does, remember to subscribe, like, comment, share, you know the drill, the internet world, how it works. And I'll be happy to receive you, whatever you need to share, whatever you want to say would be really cool. And just so you know, I'm starting this journey. I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert. I'm just enjoying this journey so far. And having a lot of fun lately with some of the episodes. So let's see what happens today. So I wanted to start with giving some context, I guess, of a problem or an issue that I think that we all face through our lives one way or another, which is that in a way we live in a time that we have a lot of easy things, right? Yeah, like when I think about, like, for example, like entertainment, there's so many ways of getting entertainment. And I'm pretty sure that we all do it in one form or another, whether it is, using the phone for whatever, social media, watching videos, playing a game, you name it. Like, it doesn't really matter. Using ChatGPT maybe nowadays is a new one of entertainment, just having conversation with ChatGPT. I think I have been entertained with that one for sure. Or, using the computer, same stuff, watching shows, playing games, doesn't really matter. I think that you probably know a lot about entertainment and also the ways you like to entertain yourself and distract yourself, right? Then you also have other real ways, let's say, like eating more food that you would like to, or eating crap food, or you just think of the ways that you have to sort of like entertain yourself or distract yourself from doing what you think is right for you. What is also could be the hard thing, or I call it like the hard thing to do. Yeah, maybe the hard thing could be for you to, do exercise, to do, workout, whatever, go to the gym or go for a run, like whatever it is, find a routine in doing some exercise, which I believe we should all do. It is very important for the health. If you don't do any form of exercise, just do that. You don't need to do anything else. Breathe and do exercise. That's very important. We all need movement. But yeah, or you also, you have a dream, you have something like a project that you want to do, and you're not doing, or you want to eat better. I'm sure that we all have, in one way or another, something that moves us and that we know it's good for ourselves, it's good for ourselves in the long run. And we know we need to do. But then we find ourselves doing, the scrolling on the phone, or putting next episode on the Netflix or whatever, or just all these many distractions that you may have, that I also have. I'm not perfect, so yeah, I'm sure that you can connect with it, just for context. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to get out of the distractions, Sometimes you can find yourself doing it a little bit too much. Sometimes you just put up the phone to look a little bit of Instagram or something like that, and then you find yourself for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long, just like being there, scrolling or whatever, and then you're like, oh my God, I wasted time. I'm pretty sure that has happened to everyone in one way or another. If it's not that, you said to yourself, I'm going to watch one episode, and then you ended up watching 3. Or you're going to eat whatever it is that you have. I'm sure that you know about it. And one thing that I wanted to bring awareness of is that all these things can also be pleasurable, of course, but do they give pleasure after a certain time? Do you get pleasure from watching 1, 3, or 20 episodes? Like somewhere along that line of you doing an action that can be pleasurable, at some point it also turns the other side, right? And then it turns unpleasant because you're doing it too much. You're not enjoying it anymore. Or because you are distracting yourself because you said, I just came back from work and I will go to the gym in half an hour, so I'm just gonna pull my phone, poo poo poo, and then half an hour later it's like, oh, maybe it's too late that you don't go to the gym anymore. Maybe you have your situation, so you know yourself better. But what I wanted to invite you is to kind of like get some background on this or what I think is important. And then I want to bring some vocabulary, I guess, that for me was incredible to understand. And maybe it's also incredible for you to understand, which is the word or the sentence or whatever, like coping mechanisms. If you know about coping mechanisms, you probably a lot farther in knowledge than me. But yeah, I never heard of coping mechanisms before some years ago. And these things, these distractions, or these, let's say, things that we do to keep ourselves from doing the hard thing or feeling something uncomfortable or getting out of the comfort zone or whatever it is, these things, you can call it coping mechanisms. So yeah, do some research. I'm not gonna go extensive on coping mechanisms. Do some research on it. It's great. But anyways, what I invite you is to start becoming aware of your coping mechanisms, right? It's not the same, because I don't think it's bad to, watch a little picture sometime or watch a little show or play a game or whatever. That's not bad. Let's not like demonize everything, right? Or be on the extremes, black and white. It is okay. But how much? That's where it becomes more of like a coping mechanism, a distraction from your life or something that you really want to do for yourself. So again, see what coping mechanisms you have. And food can also be a coping mechanism. There's so many coping mechanisms. I know my coping mechanisms. Then it's time for you to know your coping mechanisms. So yeah, that's just an invitation for bringing some awareness to that. And something about coping mechanisms is that they're a way to not feel, I believe. They're a way. The coping mechanisms are ways in which we numb ourselves or we distract ourselves so that we don't need to feel something probably painful or uncomfortable. In a way, also, maybe there is a resistance in doing something. Go back to the example of working out or doing exercise. You maybe tell yourself that you want to do it. Maybe you do it and that's not a good example for you and you can think about something else. Doing yoga or stretching or meditating or, these things that we all hear that they're good for ourselves, but you may be doing or you may not. But like I say, just think of examples and then see how you distract yourself. And then, yeah, just understand that part of something behind this, I believe, is that these mechanisms, these coping mechanisms, these distractions are a way of not having to feel the discomfort, of not having to feel the pain. I think that the pain is very beautiful, and pain is in so many different things and aspects in life. Is it more painful for you to get yourself out of the couch and go to the gym, or is it more painful to stay in the couch and have a story of like, oh, you didn't go to the gym, I didn't go to the gym, I'm a piece of shit, or I'm not worthy, or whatever it is? Where do you feel more pain? And independently of where you have the pain, the little tools, the little internet, the little distractions are a way of not feeling that pain. Because if you were to put everything away and actually feel the pain, feel the discomfort, I'm sure you would go to the gym. I'm sure you would not eat that crappy food or whatever you do, right? So yeah, just understanding that we live in a life where it is easy to find all these things and it's easy to avoid feeling. And one way of actually finding this realization is to learn how to feel these things. But again, today I'm not gonna go so deep into this, just bringing some context, just bringing a little story to this to see if it brings you value to understand yourself a little better. And little by little, we're gonna dive deeper and deeper on this topic. So yeah, I guess today I'm not very flowy, so I need to check the notes quite often. But anyways, something that I did that I thought of this thing is that independently of your distraction or coping mechanism, independently of that, something that it's important to become aware of is the voice in the mind. You are probably telling yourself a story. Behind this thing, behind the phone or whatever it is, you're probably telling yourself a story. There's something good for you to do in this life that you are not doing. Whether it is exercise, a life project, whatever it is, right? There's something very important that you're not doing. And there is probably a story that you tell yourself. Are you aware of the story that you tell yourself when you're not doing the hard thing, when you're not doing what you really want to do, and it's also hard to do? Because normally, and I know for myself, normally we create a story. There is a voice inside of us, the inner critic you may call, or it's related to the inner child, but there's a voice inside of us that tell us, I should be going to the gym, or I should be recording this podcast, or I should be doing yoga or meditating or whatever it is, and I didn't do it. So I'm not good enough. Or yeah, I don't know your voice, but my voice is for sure. I tend to tell myself I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not a good guy. I am just like not good enough. I'm not adult enough. I haven't grown up yet. I'm a little kid. Like whatever it is, the voice always changes. It doesn't really matter. The important point here is to understand that we have an ego. We have a sense of self. And that sense of self and that ego creates stories sometimes. And the cool part about this, and why I think it's so supportive to understand, is that independently of the story that you tell yourself, whether you think, whatever you say to yourself that is not very good or that is probably very negative because you didn't accomplish the goal you wanted to do, or because you haven't even started that dream that you've been having for 10 years or 5 years, or that idea or that project. And to just become aware that there is a story, there is a voice in the head, and you are not the voice in your head. That's something I say probably every episode, to bring awareness that that's just a part of you. It's a part of you that has a little story that creates a little something, to also, as a coping mechanism, to not deal with this pain, but also brings a lot of pain. The voice inside of us for not doing that thing on Monday, not starting on Monday, not starting on New Year's, not starting on the spring, whatever you want to start, that's also quite painful. You're kind of like disappointing yourself in a way. And in a way, it's just like the voice in your head that's been creating the story and bringing a lot of pain. But yeah, just so you know, or I believe, or I realize for myself that, yeah, that little voice creates a lot of stories, and they're not super, super important. But yeah, you just follow this journey on this podcast. We talk about this all the time and how to separate yourself from that voice. But just one more reminder that's quite important, I believe. And then another thing was that the ego and the voice in the head loves so much a negative story. The ego loves to fantasize and to tell yourself that you're not good enough, or like you failed again, you didn't do what you needed to do, or you have been with this idea for 3 years and you haven't even started, or you are an imposter for that, or you don't know where to start, like whatever it is. Just become aware, and become aware that the bigger the story is, and the more negativity there is in it, I think the more you can be in the story, the more you can believe the story. The ego, in the end, part of the function of the ego in creating these stories is that the ego wants to have attention. The ego wants to, that you also give attention to the ego, to your inner critic, and the ego wants you to be in the story, right? But one way of not being in the story is take a breath, and then you are in presence. just with one breath. And you can do that as many times as you want. Separate yourself a little bit from the story, go back to presence, because this is just a story. And something to realize here is that the problem doesn't come, or I believe the problem doesn't come from these outside distractions. Of course, a distraction makes it harder. No, it would be easier maybe if you didn't have that phone or that distraction, that show, that whatever it is that you're having. It would be easier if you didn't have it. But the problem is not playing a game or watching the phone or anything like that. That's not the problem. The problem, I believe, or part of the problem comes within. And that's where it's important to look at. The easy thing to do, or what I see a lot of people saying is like, you know what? Take the phone, put it out of the room, and that works. That probably works a lot, right? But are you finding understanding inside of yourself or what's going on? And part of the thing that's going on is that there's probably a lack of something. There's probably a lack of something in you. There's probably some pain, some wound that you've had since probably very early in childhood that is still repeating itself, and that you might be feeling that there is a lack of something inside of you. If there was no lack, you probably wouldn't have any problem doing all the things you want to do. You would be a high achiever, a high accomplisher, and then your life would be fixed, maybe, perhaps. But we're all human, and we all have this issue in one way or another, that we set ourselves some goals, some nice goals, and we don't get to finish them, we don't get to do them, and then we get to distract ourselves. So yeah, and with this thing of like there is a lack of something, normally I believe it is connected with the wound. It is connected with the wound from childhood. In a way, yeah, your inner child is probably hurt. Your inner child needs some attention. Your inner child probably needs some love, and why is it? Why is it? Have you asked yourself, like, why are you having a hard time putting down the phone or getting out of these distractions? Or why are you having a hard time that on Monday you do that thing? Or why you've been telling yourself for years that you wanted to work out, or you've been telling yourself for years that you wanted to start this project or this and that? Why is it so hard to start something actually, you know? And like I say, if I was a guru and I tell you just be in presence and do this and do that, sure, it would be nice, but I am not. And for me, I just want to send the invitation to you on, this negative voice inside of your head. Cool, we have it. Don't suppress it. Just allow it. But also start questioning yourself of like, yeah, what's going on? What's actually going on inside of you? And I want to point to you. Don't even think of what's going on now. Think about what was going on back in the day. In my case, I will also give you my example. Of course, I don't want to predicate and tell you all this knowledge without telling you my example that I also struggle with, and maybe you find some inspiration. I'll tell you probably towards the end of the video if you want to skip or whatever. But yeah, there is their childhood experiences probably that have been with you for many years, and they are just repeating themselves. And that's why you are in need of distracting yourself when you're not accomplishing those goals, perhaps. Okay, so now we got to the part of the episode which I enjoyed the most when I was writing this, because yeah, it's nice to philosophize about, coping mechanisms and distraction and what's going on. Why are you not able to start that project, go to the gym, whatever it is? And yeah, and I love philosophizing about that, and I think it's great to ask yourself those questions, be aware of the story, be aware of the ego, what's going on. But yeah, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I'm going to give you the red pill right away, I guess, but it is not nice. So watch out. Like we say here, trigger awareness. This might trigger you a little bit. If you are having a problem with doing the hard thing, if you're having a challenge to take yourself out to do that thing that you want to do, going to the gym, whatever it is, do yoga, meditation, read something new, start a new project. It doesn't matter. If you're having a hard time doing the hard thing and you're not able to overcome yourself easily, and you're having this problem reoccurring in your life, and for days, for weeks, for years, and this and that, it is because you are being a kid. You are being a child. Yes, and you may stop the video now. It's like, this guy is a fucking asshole, perhaps. But it is what it is. I believe that. I believe that if someone is not able to hold themselves and make themselves do what they need to do, make themselves do something that is good for them, it's because they're in their child. They're being a child. And I'm not saying that you're being a child all the time or that I was a child all the time. It's that there are different energies and different movements and different understanding of yourself. But part of this issue is that you are still a 5-year old or you're still an 8-year old. And something to understand here is that there's nothing wrong with that. And you may be 50, you may be 40, you might be 20, you might be 15. It doesn't matter your age. But yeah, if you find yourself with trouble to do these things that you really want to do, just think, hey, and this can bring a lot of relief. It's like, hey, you're just being a child, and that's okay. And there is a way of actually healing this wound and making yourself do these things. Yeah, because like I was saying, and I said before a lot, that this may be coming from childhood. So, okay, now I hope that you resonated with this or that you hate me a lot. I think that's great if you hate me because something is activating and the child is like, don't call me a child, right? Like a child would be like, you're being a child, and it's like, no, I'm old enough now. And just even with the face expression that I was trying to make, it's like, yeah, when you get triggered, if you get triggered about this, that I'm telling you that if you're having trouble for not doing the hard thing and you're being a child and you're like, that is not the case, and you're getting triggered, that's a sign you're being a child for sure. But anyways, yeah, just observe yourself and see, where the little kid inside of you plays a role in all this story, in using these pleasures, these distractions, this entertainment. Where is the little kid? Because in a way, I don't know, when I was a little kid, for sure, I love entertainment. I wanted to be playing all day, whether it was with toys, playing football, watching TV, watching a movie, playing computer game. Like, I love it. Eating some chips, some cookies, whatever. I love it. That was a blessing, being a kid. I don't know. Well, I'm sure there are many kids around the world, but I'm sure many kids or you in your childhood found some pleasure at some point of all these entertainment force. And you are also enjoying yourself as an adult. And yes, you're not a kid in that way. You on your ID, it says that you are older than 5-year-old. But there is a 5-year-old inside of you also using all these distractions that you haven't learned how to manage in a way, or sometimes, of course, this is not all the time. You might be having a job and you might be grown enough and having money and managing a family and having kids. And there is a part of you that is an adult, and it's important that you know that. But it is very important to know that you also have an inner child inside of you that sometimes it gets active and it becomes difficult to manage that inner child if you haven't done inner child work, or if you haven't really connected to him, to her, if you haven't created a relation, because there has been some suppression with the inner child. And yeah, I don't want to go so deep into the inner child. I want to go back to the topic at hand of like what's happening when you're trying to do the hard thing and it's becoming difficult. So what you need to do, and it's easy for me, right, to tell you what to do, and I'm gonna solve your life, and that's it, and you don't need anything else, of course. Now, what I believe someone needs to do when they discover that they are in their inner child, and the child inside of you is giving you a hard time to do these things, is that you can actually become your own father. Maybe when you were a kid, you had a great father and a great relation with your father, and he helped you a lot. He helped you a lot to, get out of the TV and do the homework or stop playing that game. And yeah, I guess homework was maybe a lot of kids enjoy that, but I didn't really enjoy it so much doing homework, and that was a hard thing for me. And I personally never really learned, and I guess I'll tell you more of my story in a little bit, but you know your story. Was it easy for you to do the hard thing when you were a little kid or not? And if yes, great. And then something else is playing out on this. And if not, also it's a sign in a way. But one of the things you can do, or I invite you to do, is to start thinking that you can actually become your own father. And so one thing that you can think of as well is that how was the relation with your father? And I speak about father, you can think about father, about mother. For me, it was a father thing, the father helping me, or the masculine energy. That's how I call it. You can think about being your own mother. Doesn't matter to me, but in this episode we're going to talk about becoming your own father. And so one thing you can do is actually to think about the relationship you have with your father when you were a little kid, whatever that relationship was, and especially that relation when it came to do the hard thing, when you came to do the work or the homework or whatever it is. And yeah, think if there was any issue with that. Did your father help you? Was your father present? Did you ever have a father? Like, is there a lack? We were talking about that there's a lack. There might be a lack inside of you, of like, why is this happening to you to do the hard thing? So yeah, is there a lack of father energy inside of you? Did you get that? Did you get that nourishment when you were a little kid? And if you have a clear answer that no, then you know that there's some work to do there. And of course, you can, and I recommend you, if you want, you can start healing your relation with your father, your inner child, with your actual father, if he's alive or not, whatever it is. That is wonderful, and I think we have talked in another episode about this, and we will talk more about this for sure, but to not just focus on this work, because this is a bigger topic in a way, on how to heal your wound with your father, or your father wound. Yeah, just become aware that there might be something, but there is a solution. Well, there's something that you can actually do, which is to become your own father. You maybe didn't have that father energy in you when you were a little kid that help you to push, to do these hard things, to go to work, to get up early for school, to go to the gym, or whatever it is. Maybe you didn't have it, but now you have the opportunity to actually cultivate that energy within you, and so that you become your own father. This is a very beautiful concept that will actually help you to do the hard thing, because it is important that you, as I was saying, if you are having trouble to do the hard thing and you realize, or you resonate, or I tell you this is the full truth, you're being a little kid. So, okay, you're being a little kid. Now, find the father within you, because you're not a kid on the ID. On the ID, it doesn't say that you're 5 or 10 year old. In the ID, it says that you're older, way older than that you're an adult. So then you need to prove to yourself that you're actually an adult, and that you can actually hold your child, so that when you are using the phone too much, what would you as a father tell to you as a kid? Think about that. Think about that. If you are, yeah, if you want to become your own father, think that you are both your own father and your own kid. You have both parts. But now connect to that adult part of you. Connect to that grown up mentality that we all have, that you have, because you are old enough to be an adult. And see what would you say to your kid when you are scrolling on the phone too much? What would you say to yourself as a kid when you are watching those extra episodes? When you are saying that you want to start on Monday and you don't start on Monday? When you have had that dream that you haven't started? What would you as a father tell yourself? And my friend, if this resonates, and yeah, like, please do this. It's incredible. Do this by yourself, get a coach, whatever it is, but do a meditation, If you're really struggling with something like this in your life, just start connecting with that father energy in you. Start connecting with that wise part of you. It's quite simple. Just set yourself a time, do a little meditation, speak to your own self. Start to see how the parts in you move. Start to see how the inner child is answering you, is connecting to you, is replying to your thing. Just be with it. You don't really have to do anything. Your own energy is going to know. And then you're going to find a way. You're going to find something. You're going to find a sign. Your wise part, your mature part, your father part is gonna tell you. It's gonna tell you the solution. It's super easy. And like I say, I will tell you my solution, of course, and how it happened in me, but you will find it. So it's incredible. And if you don't find, of course, it's not like you've been having this problem for years and now you stop the video and you meditate for half an hour and the problem is gonna be solved. Of course, probably not, but you doing this little by little and a few times and a few times and a few times, and just by listening this video, just by the fact that life brought you to this video, it's because you needed to hear this, because you may be having a hard time doing something. So yeah, just start to invite this energy and start to have a conversation, have a little relation between that little kid that's having trouble to sit down and do the homework and the little kid that wants to distract, that wants to do the entertainment, that wants to do the easy pleasure, the easy thing. Okay, acknowledge that part, and now start to connect, to cultivate this father inside of you and start taking responsibility, right? And I'm telling you, you will find a way. I am certain that if you start doing this, if you start inviting this energy of your life, you will find a way to help yourself to actually, do that thing on Monday, or start making that dream come true, and all those things. Okay. So yeah, I truly believe that you can support yourself a lot. And of course, I will also give you what I has supported me, and maybe something that can bring you a lot of value, and might be tools. I think they're tools that can actually support you, because I think they're super easy to do. So yeah, before I go into those things and into my story and the tools that I use for myself, I just wanted to invite you to, to tell you that you have a choice, that you can choose this way. You can choose to grow up. You can choose to be an adult. You can choose to be your own father. And again, like, the easy thing I could tell you would be like, put down the phone, just go to the gym, just do it, and that kind of thing. And of course, if that works for you, that's great. But like I say, beyond ideas, or this is the intention of this show, go a little bit beyond. And again, invite that father energy in you, recognizes, and let me tell you, it is very cool and very nice for the little kid inside of you, for the inner child, to know that you have a father, that you can be your own father, that you will be the one that will make yourself get up and do what you need to do. It is very relaxing to the inner kid to know that there's someone in charge, there's someone in control, that you don't need to worry that Papa is driving the car and Papa is gonna take you to point A, point B, is gonna take you to school, and you just can relax there. And again, that Papa is you. So invite that and connect and make that choice for yourself, that you are gonna take care of yourself, that you're gonna be an adult, and you're gonna tell your little kid, hey, that's enough. And here, I guess, is where I start to tell my story, because my story, in a way, ended or started, maybe, it depends how you look at it, but with those words, that I one day, me being in my wisdom, in my own father, without planning anything, one day I heard that voice inside of me that said, it's enough. And that was enough. And the day that I said that was enough was the day I started recording this podcast, that I was thinking for years and for months. But okay, I tell you my story. So for many years, when I was getting out of university, I always dream of creating something, creating a blog. Back in the day, I don't think podcasts were so famous, and then I started like my coaching certification, and I wanted to become a coach and help others with their life and all of that. And I did it. And I didn't have clients, and I thought like one way of starting to get clients, because I had a lot of clients, but they were free clients. Like, I wasn't getting money. I did a lot of sessions, and and I thought that to prove that I was good enough. That also comes from another wound, but I'll tell you in another episode probably. Yeah, to do that, I thought that the internet. Let's use the internet, right? Let's create social media. Let's create blogs. Let's create a podcast. And for so many years, I sort of tried to do it, but I always failed. I always put it for I start on Monday. And also I didn't really work out by then. So, or I worked a little bit, but I wasn't consistent. So I had a lot of that. I had a lot of distraction. For me, my main coping mechanisms were smoking weed, going out with friends on weekends, drinking, of course, but like not every day, but just on the weekends, and playing video games. That was a big distraction for me. And also watching things on YouTube, or watching things on shows, movies, documentaries, and I guess that's the package of my coping mechanisms mainly. And I did that a lot. And of course, at some points I was unemployed and I had a lot of free time. At some points I had a job, and I was like, okay, because I have a job, I'm not gonna be able to do this podcast thing. Then I would quit the job to do the podcast, and I wouldn't do it anyways. So yeah, it was a lot of years of that, until at one point in my life I said like, okay, I cannot deal with this inner voice anymore, or whatever. And so I took a different route. I centered myself. I found a job, and yeah, I don't want to go so deep into the story because the story is very, very long. But anyways, in the past few years, I've been doing a lot of healing. I've been actually getting some coaching, or you could consider it therapy perhaps. But yeah, for me it was coaching, and it was a lot of like work with myself, with my wounds, with my past, with my inner child. Super beautiful journey. I'm in it for a year, and it has totally changed my life. The journey started some time ago, actually, but yeah, little by little, I got to this point. So after this summer, I was like something that the inner wisdom, the inner adult inside of me told me, okay, I've been having this dream of teaching, of doing a podcast, of like just putting the things that I know out there. And I've been having it 4 years and 4 years and 4 years. And I knew that at some point I would have the challenge to actually get this back. And now it was that time. I'm like, okay, I've been doing all this work. I've been like becoming an adult, growing up, holding myself accountable, all these things. All right, now it's going to be the biggest challenge of my life, which is to create content on the internet. That's always been the biggest. Now it's time. Now I'm going to prove to myself, have I grown up? Am I able to hold my inner child? Am I able to hold myself accountable? Am I a grown up now? So I set up this goal of like, yeah, this is just going to be, I call it the graduation project. So doing this podcast for like a year, I say maybe from September until June at least. That's my goal. And maybe I do this episode, and in 2 weeks you never heard from me because I'm back in my inner child, and I'm not able to keep going with this podcast. But yeah, this is sort of like the goal, and I don't know where it will go. I had a lot of stories of like, yes, I want to, of course I want to make money with this and all of this. But anyways, I don't want to go so deep into the story. What I wanted to share with this is like, for me, the hard thing in this story was to create content. It was to do the podcast. So when I came back from holidays, so I got this idea of like, okay, in a coaching session, my inner wisdom spoke to me, and what came out is like, all right, it's fucking time. It's go time. I will do the podcast this year. No more waiting. I'm ready now. I wasn't ready back then. I didn't have the tools, whatever. Now I have the tools. I'm ready. I'm going to do it. Wonderful. And of course, it's like, I'm going to do it, but not yet. I'm going to do it in a couple months. And that's what I said to myself, and that was okay. I'm like, I'm going to enjoy it. Well, I was working in the summer, and then I will have like a month of holiday, and then I will go back to work. So I'm like, I'm going to enjoy myself fully until I go back to work. So I came back to work, and I had that story in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I need to do the podcast. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I could not. I honestly could not. It was like, again, I'll do it on Monday. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I was suffering so much from inner critic, from that inner toll, that story that I was telling you about, that little voice. But of course, now I have more tools. So I'm like, okay, I'm aware I have a voice. And I just have a lot of distraction, entertainment, coping mechanisms, and they're taking over, and I'm suffering so much. So I got to a point, and that happened in like 2 weeks or a month. It wasn't a long time, but because of this tool. So I got to a point, and I'm like, look, whatever it is, I really need to do this shit. I really need to do this graduation project. I need to prove myself I can do this. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to go viral. No one's going to listen to me. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to fucking do it. And I remember so beautifully the day that it was the day that I started. And since that day, I have been going. And before that, I also want to tell you something that has helped me a lot, which is that I have been working out in a way for 4 years, pretty much. In February, it's going to be 4 years. I love CrossFit. I practice it weekly. So this practice also helped me a lot because I didn't start to work out because I wanted to get fit or something like that. I just knew workout is good for me. I tried this sport and I fell in love with it. So I'm like, I recommend CrossFit. It's fantastic. So I fell in love with the sport and I just did it ever since. And of course, with time, I got a lot of results, a lot of comments like, oh, you look great, this and that. Fantastic. I never did it for that. I just keep doing it. I just keep doing it because I really enjoy it and it's fantastic. So with that, with the workout thing, to me it was like, okay, I have proved to myself that I can commit to something that's not easy, because it's not easy, to get out of work and go to workout. It's not easy. It's easier to be on the couch, of course, but that's what I do, and that's a practice that I've been having for so many years. It's fantastic. So with that said, I came to that day, and it was actually a Monday. Like, I told myself on that Sunday, I'm like, okay, that's enough. There's no way. I will start on Monday for sure. There was no doubt in me. What happened on Monday? Monday after work, Monday after workout. Of course, I went to workout. That's a non-negotiable practice I always wanted to do. I go back at night, and I'm like, okay, hustle time. Let's do this thing. Oh, no, no, no. I'm gonna play a game and watch something on YouTube or whatever it was. So I ended up, like, again, binge watching whatever it was. I don't even remember. And I was like, I wake up on Tuesday and I'm like, no way. I failed myself again. I can't believe it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I never gonna do this shit, whatever it is. The voice, the voice, the voice. And I was having a conversation with a friend about this a little bit. We do a practice here that is called sharing. I was sharing about my story with someone, and there was something. There was like a miracle that happened inside of me. There was the adult father. I already had a session with this uh, with when I was a little kid and I was having trouble doing homework, and how I wish my father helped me to get myself out of the couch to do homework. And in my case, his way of helping was quite harsh, and my inner child, or when I was a kid, I never accepted his way of helping me to do the hard thing. So I never really learned that too when I was a little kid. So with doing that session and with realizing that, I'm like, okay, now I need to learn. Now I need to become my own father. Now I need to learn how to make myself do the hard thing. And yeah, and so I did that session like a week before, and for a week I was like trying to tell myself, okay, get out of the couch, do this thing, do this thing. I also failed, I failed, but I already had connected with this energy, with this fatherhood, with this masculine presence inside of me, with me being my own father. I started connecting. Until when? And in that session, at the end of the session, I think me being my own father to my little kid said something similar, said something like, that's enough. Like, now we do this. And again, for 1 week, I couldn't do it. But that morning, I don't know, that Tuesday morning, I don't remember what day it was. It was like, wow. I said to myself, like, so clearly, that's enough. I didn't scream to my inner child. I didn't apologize. I didn't, no story, nothing. I said, that's enough. And that was enough. Funny thing, after that, after work, after workout, coming back after dinner, I played one game because I love that. It's just like a way of releasing tension, whatever. Half an hour, and then and then I was like, okay, now I'm doing it. And super crazy, I put myself in front of the camera, listened to that first episode. It was that actual day. I think I recorded for like 10-15 minutes. I felt so bad, so shy, so insecure. It was like, wow, so bad. Like, I haven't listened or watched that episode again, but it was so difficult. But you know what? I did it. And after I did it, I celebrated, or I told myself, it's like, wow, okay, I did it. It was the worst thing I ever done, but I did it. Wonderful. I'll do another one tomorrow. Or I don't know when I did the next one. But it was a bit like that. So every day, I would tell myself, like, if I was doing too much of distraction or something, I would say to myself, that's enough. Or I'm recording today, no matter what, or I'm recording either today or tomorrow, but like I would just keep producing. And I have been keep on producing every week, also working on the other things like the logo, whatever. So yeah, so at the end, what I want to give to you, I found within myself, within my own father, that voice that said, that's enough. So I hope that if you are, inspired by this story, that you also get to find this inner voice inside of you, or just copy what I said and say to your child, that's enough. I'm doing this today. And I will tell you a couple more things that actually helped me a lot to keep on doing this thing, to keep on working out, to keep on recording and all of that. And I'm gonna check because I forgot. Okay. So what I do for myself is this thing. I have a weekly goal. I've been having this weekly goal with the workout for a very, very long time, which is that, and it has changed. At some point in my life, I wanted to do like 6 workouts a week. At some other point, I did 5, and I found out that what works for me is 4, because 3, I would say, is a little bit too little and it's too easy to do, maybe. 4 is like wonderful. 5 would be a little bit too much. So 4 is my magic number for workout. And every week for, I would say, 2 years now. I've been working out for 4 years, but for 2 years, like a religion. Every week, the week starts, and I know I need to work out 4 times. Like that. That's it. And out of 52 weeks in a year, I would say, like, I actually have an application that tracks like when I work out, and that I would say for the past 2 years, I probably have worked out every week, and maybe I didn't work out in 2 weeks of the year. Like fully on a week, I would not do a workout. I felt 2 weeks, but 50 weeks out of 52, work out every week, and maybe I didn't do 4 times every week, but yeah, I think like the worst week it would be like 2 or 1, maybe when I was traveling, but it would be like 1 or 2 weeks a year. But most weeks it was always 4 or 3. Some week maybe 5, but like normally it would either be 4 or 3. I think my average would be like 3.8, something like that. Like most times it would be 4 times a week. So yeah, so every week I start the week and I know I will be working 4 times a week, and that's the goal. And like lately, the goal has even become to do it before Saturday, because back in the day I would be like, yeah, I don't work out on the Tuesday or on the Wednesday, whatever. I'll do it on Saturday. I'll do it on Sunday. So I will have until Sunday to do it. Nowadays, it's like I'm working 4 times before Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, I'm off. And it's fantastic. And again, I either do it 4 times in a row. Like this week, I'm going to do Monday to Thursday. And sometimes I do Monday, Tuesday, a Wednesday break, a Thursday, Friday. But yeah, so why do I say about this? Because with the podcast, it has been a little bit like this. It's like, okay, I haven't really set a clear goal of like, I'm recording 4 episodes, because I also need to edit, and I don't know how to do it very well yet. And I need to do the logo and this kind of things. I'm beginning, so I cannot do that. But with my coach, we have been meeting every 3 weeks, and I have been setting. So the first time it was like, I'll do 6 episodes, I think I said. The second time I said I'm going to do 8 episodes, and no, I did 2 episodes in the beginning. I did 6, and then I'm at 8 this time. And that's the goal. So I know that I have 3 weeks to record until 14 episodes. That has been the current goal. And now I know this is episode 11. I have 3 more to go, and I have pretty much a week. Yeah, I have a week to do 3 episodes. So I know I will do that. And then I also said that I will publish whatever. It doesn't matter. So anyways, what I wanted to tell you is that for you to do this hard thing, when you find your inner voice, one of the things that can work for you is to set weekly goals, because I think that monthly, it's a little bit too long. I also have this monthly sort of like on the back of my head, or like this 3 week of like, okay, by 3 weeks I want to record 8, but for me it's a weekly thing. And it's a daily thing, even because every day I think, okay, am I recording today or not? Or am I working on the logo today or not? And some days I'm like, I'm not doing it. And some days I'm like, okay, the same as workout. I plan Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. So okay, and yes, and this week will be the same for recording and for doing the logo or whatever. Like the nights of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, I will be working on this, and that's the intention. And yeah, let's see what happens. But again, with this grit, with this inner voice, with this masculine energy, I have been able to do it for so far. And something I wanted to tell you about this weekly thing is that it's nice to be ambitious. It's nice to put it there. For me, 3 times a week working out wasn't enough. Put it at 4, be ambitious and don't be over ambitious so you never reach your goal. But I wanted to invite you to be ambitious because what's the thing? Like if you put yourself, let's say my example of working out 4 times, you're ambitious. If you reach that goal of 4 times, you're like, oh yes, I did it. I'm great. I reached my goal. That's fantastic. If you don't reach it and you do 3, like I did it the other week, then it's fine. It's like you worked out 3 times a week. That's fantastic. So that's the thing. I recommend you, when you set that goal, to recommend you to set a weekly goal and start that way. Maybe it's a workout. Maybe it's you want to record as well. Maybe you want to dedicate some hours to a project that you want to do. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Meditate. You want to meditate every day. That's fantastic. But maybe you set yourself a goal. Okay, this week, every week, for however long, just every week, I know that I need to meditate 3 times. And then when it gets to Sunday, if you haven't done it, you need to do it. And then Monday starts again, and just a weekly thing, a weekly thing, a weekly thing. So yeah, I hope that I'm sure you are old enough and you know how to set yourself goals or whatever. This is the way that has done for me. And and if it inspires you, go for it. And so I will stop, I guess, ranting a little bit. And the last thing that I wanted to share is that, yeah, you can find your own support within yourself. Like I truly believe in that. And I believe that we're all self-sufficient. We're all adults. You can connect with your inner father and father yourself. But sometimes you might need external help. Like I have chosen to invest money on myself, to invest in coaching for a year, and receive coaching for a year. Every week it was in the beginning, then every 2, then every 3 weeks. So yeah, this is another recommendation that I have for you. You can also hire someone, invest money on yourself to do that goal that you really want to do. There's wonderful people out there. You can work with me if you want, or maybe if we connect, if you have chemistry, we can do that. Or you can find someone else. You can ask me also for the people that I know, whatever suits you. But this is another way that you can get some external help as well, and it helps a lot. But if you don't have the money, if you don't have the resources, you know that you can also do it by yourself. Watch this video again, the parts that really resonated. Find your way, find your own voice, become aware of the voice in your head, become aware of the coping mechanisms, the distractions that you have. Connect, realize that you're a little kid when you are not able to do those things, and connect with that inner father inside of you. Maybe you need some tough love. Maybe you need to tell yourself that's enough, like I told myself, but in a very loving way. I invite you to do it in a very loving way, right? Because otherwise you're going to feed that negative voice of like, you're bad, you're not enough, la la la, whatever. And it might be connected with what your father would tell you or how you felt with your father. But yeah, anyways, I don't want to repeat this episode again. I am so grateful, so grateful for you that you have listened to this episode or parts of the episode, that you are there, that you're working on yourself, you're dealing with your stuff, you're holding yourself, you're growing up, and that is fantastic. So yeah, thank you for that. I also want to thank myself for sitting down one more day when I had resistance, when I also wanted to not do it, and when I also, especially today, has been a lot of I noticed a lot of inner critic inside of me, of perfectionism, and like, oh my god, I'm really not happy with this episode, even though when I was writing it I was enjoying myself so much. But anyways, the inner critic, the voice in my head, I also have it. And it is okay to have it. But for sure, I am so grateful that, you know what, I did it. One more episode, one more to go. Keep going, keep on the fight, keep on the grit. And so, yeah, I celebrate myself for that. And then, yeah, lastly, I just want to invite you that if you got some value out of this, if you resonated, if it brought you something good, you can support me by, doing the internet thing, which is subscribing, sharing, liking, these things that they're free, and it supports a lot, and it also shows me that actually someone is listening, which I'm never sure of. So yeah, you can support me if you wish. And lastly, I want to give you a last gift, which is something that you always have, which is something you don't need anything for. It doesn't matter your life situation, which is your breath. Take a deep breath. That's all, my friend. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need me. You don't need anything. Take a breath, feel it, and just feel the air inside of you. And there's no story, there's no drama, there's no hard thing, nothing exists. Only you and breathing and being alive. And that's all. That's all you need. And you can do that as many times as you want. So that's the main support. So one more time, thank you so much. And I hope to see you again, I guess. See you.